Are you ever curious about those two hometown bands and the parade during the 4th of July? I am. Next up, I got Chris Severson. He's a member of the Town Band, and he grew up in Sonoma. Chris and I are going to talk about the Town Band, the other Town Band, band parties, Ruggles music, and just the general camaraderie of being part of a greater team. Check it out.
So I gotta ask what? 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 So I gotta ask.
I'm Joshua Farrell, and this is So I Gotta Ask.
So I have been in the Town Band. I believe I started in '94. So what are we coming up on? How many years is that? Third,
Almost 30 years. Right? No,
yeah,
more? Yeah, 30 years.
yeah. So it's insane. I think I am the third longest tenured person in the band now. There's a clarinet player and a flute player that have been there a little bit longer than me. We just lost our drummer, who was just a stalwart. He was our anchor of the band. Just last year, he finally retired from the band. He had been in for like 35 years.
Wow.
Yeah, yep. So, yeah, never thought I'd still be doing it, but it's
Now,
still
were you in a band in high school?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. So, and then were you in a band? Like, how did you get into music?
So in fourth grade at Prestwood Elementary.
Go Panthers.
I don't know if they did this when you were in fourth grade. They sent all the kids home with a sheet of paper. Hey, if you bring this home to your parents, if you want to play an instrument, and you circle the instrument. And I asked my older brother, hey, which one of these do you think I should play? And he said, oh, I think trumpet's pretty cool. So, okay. So I circled that one and took up the trumpet and since fourth grade. And then went to Altamira, middle school. Richard Schneider was the band director there.
Mr. Schneider. Yeah.
I don't know if he was still there when you were there, but and then fast forward years later, hadn't played my trumpet. So after Santa Rosa Junior College, I went off to a four-year college in Illinois and left my trumpet at home. I actually played concert band at the JC. And so 11 years went by, and then a friend of mine found out I played the trumpet and got me to join the hometown band. And guess who was the director? Richard Schneider. So
Full circle there.
Exactly, yeah.
So it's funny. They did have that program when I was at Prestwood, and I also circled a trumpet. So now I don't know how well you know my mother, but that lasted about 3 nights, I think. They eventually sent me out to the gazebo, and I had to practice out like in the yard, and it was freezing cold. Because my mother was like, "That's not happening in the house. That's crazy. That's too loud." So then I pivoted. I was in Mrs. Keller's class. I pivoted and I got the clarinet. So I was clarinet for a year. But I did miss the trumpet. But Mary wasn't having any trumpet business in her house.
Yeah.
It was too loud.
Yeah, too bad you guys didn't know about the mute. You can stick a mute at the end of that thing.
Yeah, the little the thing that kind of muffles it, right?
Yeah.
Oddly enough, we go now. Our optometrist here in LA is a trumpet player, so we go watch him play every couple of months. We'll go see his band play.
Okay, yeah. I'm so glad I picked the trumpet because I feel like we have the most fun. We get all the melody, and we just get to blast loud. Hopefully not too loud, but clarinet and the trumpet are actually in the same key, and clarinets also get a lot of the melody. And some of the famous jazz musicians of all times are either trumpet players or clarinet players.
That's a good point. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, so you could put a sheet of clarinet music in front of me and I could play it. Yeah, I don't have to transpose.
Now, at this point, I got to ask, because one thing I do remember from playing the trumpet, my cheeks were just killing me. And it only lasted 3 or 4 nights probably before my mom made me turn it back in. Do your cheeks still hurt, or are you just used to it and it doesn't matter? Or like, do you get cheek fatigue? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, that's a good question. And actually, yeah, your chops. You gotta build up your chops. Trumpet is a very, with many wind instruments, a very physical instrument to play. A piano, you can sit there all day long and just play those keys, and take a couple years off and go right back to it. Same with the percussion, just pounding on the drums. With something you got to blow air through, especially a trumpet that's only got 3 keys, it's really counting on all your physical abilities, your diaphragm, your air, and especially your chops. Maybe we'll take a couple months off and not pick up my trumpet, and it'll take me a good week or two to get my lip and, like you say, face muscles back into shape. Mainly it's the lip. It will immediately swell up, and you just can't get any more air through it, after just a minute. But it just takes about a week of continuing to do that to get the chops back and start making better sounds.
Wow, that's very cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so you come back from school. By the way, where in Illinois? Because my wife went to school in Illinois. I'm just curious if y'all went to the same school.
Surrounded by cornfields, Eastern Illinois University, EIU.
Does that have a Wesleyan in it or anything like that? She went, I think, to Southern Illinois, something Wesleyan. I better get my facts straight.
Yeah, I have heard of that. No, this is just straight Eastern Illinois University.
Okay, she went to it was a small school in Illinois as well. She loved it.
Did she grow up there?
She grew up in Minnesota, so Twin Cities. So it was like getting away, but only, I think, 6 hours. I guess I did the same thing by going from San Francisco to Los Angeles.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Midwest girl.
Yeah.
Midwest first daughter.
Midwest is the best, so they say. Minnesota, nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're back in Sonoma, and who talks you into getting in the town band?
Carrie Davis, my old neighbor, Carrie. That was one day, 4th of July. I saw this guy marching in the band, looked very much like my neighbor Carrie, but no, that's not him. And so I saw him later. I said, "Hey, I saw somebody looked just like you in the hometown band." He said, "Oh, that was me." I'm like, "What? You're kidding me?" He said, "Oh yeah, I play the baritone," and that's when I told the story. "Oh yeah, I used to play the trumpet years ago. It's been collecting dust in my closet." And he said, "Oh, you're kidding me. We need hometown band players. We need trumpet players." And I said, "Oh no, you don't understand. I haven't played in 11 years." He said, "Well, that's the prerequisite. You can't have played for at least 10 years to join the band." Of course, he was joking, but he talked me into it. I'm so glad he did. I'd take my trumpet over, and he'd get his baritone, and we'd set up our chairs and music stand in his garage and just start playing through John Philip Sousa songs. And it took about 6 months, I feel like, and then my ability was kind of back where it was 11 years prior. And Kerry was the best. He was an amazing musician, played in big bands. He played the stand-up bass, like in old Motown bands. Unfortunately, he moved out of Sonoma and lives in Solano now, but we keep in touch. So every once in a while, we'll see him again at 4th of July with his baritone.
Oh, nice. So sometimes make a guest appearance?
Yeah, exactly. Well, we have hometown band started in 1967 by Richard Schneider, and for years the only thing they did was the 4th of July parade. And 1986, I think they started adding concerts. So now there's 2 holiday Christmas concerts, 2 spring concerts, and then we'll do some community events. We play at the Memorial Day ceremony every year. But where was I going with this?
No, but I want to ask you. So 1967, Mr. Schneider starts the band.
Right.
Wow, I didn't know it goes all the way back, which is amazing, because I do remember it my whole life in the 4th of July parade.
Yeah.
Was it always I mean, I guess cat out of the bag. Did they always change outfits from day one, or do you know when that started?
I think I think that was somewhere early mid 70s, and the way that came about was we were the only marching band in the Fourth of July parade. I think there was a few years there where the high school marched, but of course they're most of the time they were on summer break, and so the organizers thought, well, why don't we just have the hometown band march around twice? So then somebody came up with this brilliant idea. Uh, the first time around, we were in our patriotic white, tops and red hats and looking official. Second time around, we put on the craziest costumes we can think of, and then the sign out in front of the band changes from hometown band to the other hometown band. And first couple years, I had come back from college and was watching the parade. I thought, oh my gosh, look at that! They're making fun of the hometown band. but,
Right.
but they're pretty good too, though. Of course, found out they're the same people. And so that was the idea was just they needed more than just the one band. So we're the only entry, far as I know, ever that goes around the parade route twice.
I gotta ask, because being an actor in the theater for so long, there's the quick change, right, which happens off stage. So I guess I've never even thought about it because we're always watching the parade. But where do you all do the quick change, and how does that go down?
So we do this quick change. The parade goes around the city plaza, but until this year, this was actually the first year they did the parade around all four streets. Before, it would just go down First Street East, take a right on Napa Street, take a right on First Street West, and Spain Street was all blocked off. So
Right, because we watched it in front of the Swiss this year, which was great.
Yeah, so we'd have a pickup truck parked there on Spain Street. There was nobody there, and in the back of that pickup, we'd have all our costumes and crazy hats and things thrown in the back, and that's where we would do our quick change. And then, somebody would wave the band in. Okay, time for the other hometown band to come back in. So this, like I say, this year though, they made the parade route all the way around. I think we just went behind the barracks this last year to do our quick change. So
Okay. Did you are you a fan of the new parade route? Did it make it easier or more difficult, or?
For a trumpet player, when your chops sometimes aren't in the best shape that you want them to be in, you're playing march after march after march going around that square, and so 3 streets was enough, especially when the band director has no mercy on the trumpet player and just keeps blowing his whistle to play that part. So it's a little more challenging. You got to play another song or two going around that, the 4th street. So, but it had to be done though. That the parade just has gotten so popular that, it's just hard to find where to pack people. I think that's why they opened up that 4th street.
Gotcha. And who is the band director now that still shows no mercy on you?
So it's John Partridge.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and John, I think his forte, to use a musical term, was a choir, he's a composer, a piano player. So really has had no experience with wind instruments. So therefore, there's no compassion for the trumpet players. We've had to kind of train him, to take it easy.
Partridge laying it down.
Yeah.
So now, okay, so you've been in now there for a long time. Question, because I also interviewed, I talked to a couple people about the Sonoma Chorale. Do people audition to get into the Sonoma Town band, or what's that process?
So no audition here. We are a very we're a very welcoming band, and pretty much the whole time I've been in the band, at every concert at the beginning, we make sure we announce, hey, if anybody out there plays an instrument or used to play an instrument, please come join us. There's no audition, you just show up no matter what your ability level. We'd love to have you. Shoot, if they had some tough requirement, I wouldn't be in this hometown band, because I hadn't played in forever, like I said. The downside of that maybe is that more accomplished players might come to a rehearsal and kind of say, get frustrated that some others aren't quite at their level. But of course, obviously, we've had some really, really good musicians over the years. So,
and with that, curious, what's in your experience? What's the smallest the town band's been, and what's the biggest the town band's been?
So this last 4th of July, we had 3 trumpet players, which is like the smallest. I'd only missed 2 4th of July since starting in '94, and those were during the COVID years. And we'd usually have at least 5 or 6 trumpets, but this year there was 3 of us. Hopefully people will reappear this year. They just needed to kind of get back into the swing of things. I feel like late 90s, early 2000s, I feel like the hometown band really kind of peaked. There was something about those years. We probably had, we report 40 strong. We have old videos of concerts at Sebastiani Theater, us up on stage, and I've listened to those like, wow, we were pretty good. We had a really good, strong bass section, and just the woodwinds were amazing. So we've ebbed and flowed over the years, like from band shrinking and expanding. The concert, the core of the band that plays the concerts in December and the spring, it's probably about 30 of us. But during the 4th of July, that's when all the alumni and out-of-towners come, and the band can swell to about 50, 60 people on 4th of July.
And then do you all do a rehearsal? Is there rehearsals leading up to that? Is there a weekly rehearsal? Or what's the practice situation?
Yeah, so for our concerts, and we have one coming up in April 22nd at the Sebastiani Theater, we rehearse every Sunday night at the Sonoma High School band room from 6:15 to 8:15 p.m. For the 4th of July, it's just two rehearsals prior to 4th of July. And really, those of us that have been around forever don't even need to really go to those rehearsals, because it's the same John Philip Sousa 4 marches that we do year after year after year.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can get plugged in. I'm just curious, out of the venues in Sonoma that you've played that aren't the parade, do you have a favorite one that do you feel sounds best with the band?
Sebastiani Theater.
It does, okay.
Yeah. So year after year, we would have our concerts at the Sebastiani Theater. For some reason, we got away with that. Change of director, change of board of directors, I'm not sure why. And then we started playing at different churches around town. And that was fine, but they tended to be way too loud, for the small rooms we were playing in. And I actually got on the board of director just this year, and I was always frustrated that for some reason we left the Sebastiani Theater. Just loved playing there. I mean, just, historic place. What a beautiful venue. So one of my first items on the agenda to bring up is, hey, why aren't we playing at the Sebastiani Theater? And so I walked in the theater, talked to Tony, who's the manager now, just about a month ago, and he said, we'd love to have you guys back. So we made it happen. So we're playing our concert. Yeah, we're back.
Excellent. Love it.
Yeah.
Has the town band ever played outside of Sonoma?
Yeah, we used to go up to Carmichael. They had a hometown band festival in the summertime. Carmichael's up by...
Oh my God, I want to go to that.
Yeah, so that was fun because we got to hear other hometown bands from, just around California. It was all weekend, and see how we measured up. it was just this beautiful bandstand in this park in Carmichael. It was often way too hot because it was in the middle of the summertime, but it was just nice to get out and meet new people, other musicians, whatnot. So I'm trying to think if we've other well, just in a couple weeks, a smaller subgroup of the hometown band is playing over in Napa. We were asked to play at some event at the Napa State Hospital over there. So it's a Mardi Gras type thing. I guess they're going to try to play some New Orleans jazz type of tunes. So every once in a while, we have these little one-off events. Oh, last Veterans Day, we actually played here where I work in Oakmont. They had a huge Veterans Day ceremony, and they knew I played the trumpet. Came into my office one day. Hey, any chance, Chris, you could come and bring the hometown band with you and play at our ceremony? So that was like the hit of the ceremony was the hometown band showing up for that and playing a bunch of marches. Stuff. Yeah,
love it. Yeah. All right, I got to ask you. So, this is my in college. I had a neighbor. His name was Bob. I can't remember Bob's last name. He had long hair, but he was in the college band. And I got to tell you, those people could party like nobody's business. I don't know what it is, and I don't think that it was just our college. I think that it's well known that bands can whoop it up afterwards. Yeah. Has that been the case at times, or is everyone pretty like you go to rehearsal, you rehearse like any crazy antics?
So our average age of the hometown band is, we're getting up there. I think we do have some youngsters, some kids joining us. I think our ages range from 15 to 87, literally. And wow. And those two guys are in the trumpet section with me. So we're our own mellow group, the hometown band, no doubt about it. But for sure, back in the day, in the high school days, Sonoma Valley High School band, we definitely like to have our fun. We actually took a trip up to Canada for Victoria Day one year. This was like 81, 82, and we were a really good band. It had just got new uniforms that year, and we're out practicing marching out on the high school field, the football field. So a few of us, not me so much, but there was some trouble out there. Let's just say we like to have it, especially the trumpet section. I don't know what was about that, but we had some rebel rousers in the trumpet section. The trombones rivaled us pretty good too, though. But I can't remember, a few maybe even got sent home on that trip for some shenanigans.
The trumpeters know how to party.
Yeah, no doubt.
My wife plays, we have a trombone in the attic. I assume that may come down at some point. I should actually tell her about the Sonoma Town band. I don't know if she can come join in on the 4th of July. But she played trombone in her high school band in Minnesota. So I feel like people always keep their instruments. Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like you're always going to brush off your instrument. That being said, I don't know where my clarinet is from 4th grade. I think my mom probably trashed it. She wasn't.
Oh, okay.
I do remember going to Ruggles to get like my reeds. So did you spend a lot of time at Ruggles? I
spent some time at Ruggles. I do remember going through the sheet music there, looking for stuff. For sure, I remember Dan Ruggles, town legend, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I know that he was involved in some music. Do you know if he was ever involved in the town band, by the way?
He maybe before my time. I started in '94, so he may have been there in the '70s or '80s. I'm not sure.
It's a pretty cool legacy, the town band, I have to say. And by the way, so you said 15 to 87, and did you say both of those people are in the trumpet section, the 15-year-old and the 87-year-old?
Yep.
Who's the 87-year-old playing? Like, who's playing a trumpet? That's amazing.
Dave Hinton, and Dave is an amazing guy. He grew up in Sonoma.
Was his brother the other musician, Hinton?
No, he had a son who was an amazing musician. He was a guitar player. I don't know if that's
Yeah,
who you're
yeah,
thinking.
that's who I'm thinking about.
And so he passed away unfortunately of cancer a few years ago.
Yeah, I
Uh,
forget his first name, but he was like an amazing guitar player, pretty well known.
exactly. Yeah, yeah. So this is Dave, and Dave has besides his son, three daughters. I went to school with Diane Hinton. There's Stacy Hinton, and drawing a blank on his oldest daughters. And so Dave, if you ever get a chance to talk to Dave, ask him just about the old Sonoma, just growing up in Sonoma stories. He just regularly go fishing on Sonoma Creek and just catch him all the time. He apparently is the only athlete ever from Sonoma High School that lettered in four different sports in one year. And Sonoma Valley High School has a sports hall of fame now. They started about 20 years ago. He's the only one that's been inducted twice.
Wow.
Once for like track and field, and like he was a pole vaulter and a sprinter, and once for like football and basketball or something like that. He lost his home in the Paradise Fires a couple years ago, but he was able to save all that memorabilia from all the ribbons and awards and all the stuff he got back in 1954, 55 at SVHS. So
That's amazing.
and God bless him. He's 87 and bringing his trumpet to practice every Sunday night. So,
I love it, and what I also like is that I guess being a theater kid, for lack of a better word, and being in the theater was this amazing sense of community that I really responded to, and I have to assume that is a pretty great outlet and community that you all have in the town band.
yeah, for sure. It's for me, I grew up as an athlete, so I was always on a team. I always enjoyed ask anybody what they're going to miss about whatever team or whatever the sport that they've left, and it's always the camaraderie, and just that working towards a common goal and pulling it off and feeling that shared feeling of success. And so for me, that's what it is now. You can't play football or those things forever, but you can play your instrument well into your older years, and so that allows me to continue this feeling of being a part of a greater team, one of a whole. And every Sunday night you're working towards the big game, which is the concert, and then once you have a pretty good concert and you're just feeling good about it. It's just such a satisfying feeling, and that you've all done this together.
That's awesome. I love it. And then do you all so let the concert will finish, and then are you back at it the next Sunday, kind of working on something new for whatever the next project is? Is that how it goes? It's just every Sunday everyone's getting together and jamming it out.
We have pretty good breaks in between concerts. So I guess we say our season is kind of October to 4th of July. So after that 4th of July parade, we won't see each other again until late September, early October, when we start preparing for our Christmas concert, well, holiday concert to be politically correct. And then we'll have the holiday concert, usually a couple concerts in December. We actually got to play at the Grinstead Amphitheater in the Plaza this year. It's the first time we'd ever done that for a Christmas concert, holiday concert.
Sweet. Oh my gosh, that's great.
Yeah, yeah. And then we'll have a break, and then we're actually starting up again here a week from this Sunday for our spring concert. So that's kind of what I was saying about the chop can kind of get out of shape in between these, concerts if you let months go by and you don't practice, like has been my MO too often.
Gotcha. And that's the one that's going to be in Sebastiani Theater, the spring one.
Exactly. Yep.
Great. Well, I feel like that kind of covers the town band. I'm always, I still laugh. Like, I mean, I've been watching this my whole life, right? I'm 52, and I still giggle when the other town band comes around the corner. Like,
Exactly.
it just doesn't get old. It's
Well,
just
and
amazing to me.
you probably feel like you're in on the joke too, especially if you're watching it with somebody who hasn't seen it before.
Well, now we get so many people that come into town that aren't locals to see the parade that 90% of the crowd's getting duped, which is fantastic.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Now,
Everybody,
I got to ask, do the boys play musical instruments?
what's the question?
Do your sons play musical instruments?
No, unfortunately, I tried to get my older son to, and he did play the trumpet for a couple years, and then he just kind of let it go. It just wasn't for him. And actually, my younger son did play the drums in middle school, but again, same thing. He just wasn't interested enough to carry it on. Just had other interests.
Yep.
They gave it a shot.
I mean, I still, like you said about, I love the correlation of the sports, because I played sports also all the way through high school. But that, even if you play music just for a little bit, you still have that experience with it, of the group and playing with people, or even playing by yourself, honestly. That it's a great creative outlet. And then that leads to other stuff. So sometimes you put that down and you pick something else up, or you do something else. But I think, again, it's fascinating in Sonoma that you have, I know there's the chorale, and you have the town band, and then the Vintage House Singers. I just interviewed Kay Adams about that, and that was super cool. It just seems like there's always so much different music, aside from all the bars having live music. It just seems like there's always a lot of music going on. And of course, Ruggles was right on the square and was an actual, a business that ran forever. You got to have a lot of people interested in music to keep a music store open.
Yeah, exactly. We're definitely lucky, and feel so lucky to have the hometown band. I wouldn't play my trumpet if it wasn't for the Sonoma Hometown Band. And it's like you say, it is my one creative outlet. You can, if you're playing music right, you're trying to do it with emotion, and like you say, creativity. Even if you're reading off some sheet music, you can still make it your own and do the inflections in just the right point, and the crescendos and decrescendos. You can definitely tell the difference when somebody's playing with emotion or just reading the notes,
Right.
I was going to say, in all the years I've been in the hometown band, I probably never seen the 4th of July parade. And you say, well, what are you talking about? It's because I'm in it every year. So I never get to actually sit there and watch all the other parade entrants.
Wow. Right. I didn't think about that. You've never actually, aside from when you were a kid, you've never really seen it.
Yeah, exactly. I might have to they just need me on the trumpet, so I just can't take a year off. So.
Okay, I got to ask one more question, because so my parents used to be in the parade occasionally, here and there. And, I have to tell you, there was always a pre-party at the Farrell house very early in the morning before the parade. And I know there's a lot of pre-partying that used to go on up there at the Vets, where everyone was lining up for the parade. Now, I got to think sometimes it's got to be different, because a musician actually, you actually have some work to do. Is there still a good pre-party scene up there before the parade?
So I do remember your dad, Roger, making me a slow gin fizz one day.
Yes.
And I'm pretty sure that was on 4th of July. And so, there's a little tailgating goes on. We show up about an hour and a half before the parade. It's a holiday. We're maybe having some Bloody Marys.
Nice. All right.
It's all about having fun, for sure. Yeah.
Great. Well, it definitely translates to the crowd, for sure. So, thanks again, Chris, and I'll talk to you soon.
You got it. Okay. Sounds good. Thanks, Josh.
Okay. Take care. Bye. Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. That was Chris Severson. My name's Joshua Farrell. I like talking to people about making art, music, acting, hospitality, and just about anything. If you like books, I've written a couple. The Sonoma Police Report, a little oddball glimpse of Sonoma Valley from 1980 to 2010 through its very funny police logs from the Index Tribune. And I recently wrote a book called Counterculture, an essential guide for service, about providing, well, you guessed it, great service. Check them out at your local bookstore first, and if you don't have one of those, you can always find them online. Thanks for listening, and come back soon. I should have some more interviews. Bye.
So